Revelation 2 Ephesus. The Church of Ephesus in Revelation, a historical look and its meaning today. The Church of Ephesus, a lost love Ephesus, a city of power, a city of influence, a city that once held one of the strongest churches in the ancient world. But despite its strength, it had a weakness, a fatal flaw that caused Jesus himself to issue a warning. This is the story of the Church of Ephesus, its rise, its struggles, and its warning for us today. The Church of Ephesus was founded by the Apostle Paul around AD 52 during his second missionary journey. Paul spent nearly 3 years in Ephesus, preaching, teaching, and establishing one of the most influential churches in the early Christian world. But he wasn't alone. Timothy, Apollos, and even the Apostle John all played key roles in shaping this church. According to tradition, John, the disciple whom Jesus loved, lived in Ephesus. Some believe Mary, the mother of Jesus, lived there with him. A church with such powerful roots should have been unstoppable. But history tells a different story. Ephesus was more than just a city. It was a thriving metropolis, a center of commerce, philosophy, and religion. At the heart of Ephesus stood one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the Temple of Artemis, goddess of fertility. Pilgrims, traders, and worshippers traveled from every corner of the empire to honor her. The temple wasn't just a religious site. It was the economic engine of the city. Ephesus was also known for its occult practices, magical arts, and deep spiritual darkness. This was the world in which the Church of Ephesus was born. From the beginning, the believers in Ephesus faced opposition. Paul's preaching was so powerful that it threatened the economy itself. In Acts 19, a riot broke out, led by a silversmith named Demetrius. His business? Making idols of Artemis. But as Christianity grew, idol sales plummeted. The message of Christ was shaking the foundations of Ephesus. But this church stood firm. In Revelation 2:1, Jesus introduces himself to the church with 2 powerful images. He who holds the 7 stars in his right hand. The 7 stars represent the leaders of the churches. By saying he holds them in his hand, Jesus is making one thing clear. He is in control. In a city ruled by Roman power, where the emperor claimed to be a god, Jesus is saying, I alone have authority over my church. Then Jesus says that he walks among the golden candlesticks, a symbol of the 7 churches. He is not distant. He is present, watching, seeing. He knows what's happening in Ephesus. He knows what's happening in our churches today. Before giving a warning, Jesus first commends the church. He says, I know your works and your labor and your patience, and how you cannot bear them which are evil. The church in Ephesus had many strengths. They were hard workers. They stood against false teachers. They remained faithful in suffering. From the outside, they looked strong. But Jesus saw something they could not see. Nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love. They were busy doing the work of the church, but they had lost their love for Christ. They still preached the gospel, but their hearts had grown cold. They still stood for truth, but they had lost their passion. Jesus doesn't say they lost their faith. He says they left their first love, and if they did not return to him, something terrible would happen. To understand why Jesus gave this warning, we must look at Ephesus's culture. Ephesus was a Roman stronghold. Loyalty to Rome wasn't optional. It was law. To be a good citizen, you had to worship the emperor. To run a business, you had to offer sacrifices to Roman gods. If you refused, you could be shunned from society, lose your job, or even face death. The believers in Ephesus stood firm against these pressures, but in doing so, they may have focused more on resisting the world than on loving Christ. And that was the danger. It is possible to fight for truth and still drift away from God. The warning to Ephesus is a warning to all of us. It is possible to do all the right things, to say all the right words, to fight for all the right causes, and still lose sight of Jesus. Christianity is not just about knowledge, it's about relationship. Not just about works, but about love. Jesus' words in Revelation 2 are a chilling echo of another warning. Matthew 7:22-23. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name? Did we not cast out demons and perform many miracles? But I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. Could it be that some churches today, some believers today, are walking the same path as Ephesus? Doing all the right works, saying all the right words, yet missing the one thing Jesus truly desires, a heart that truly knows him. Jesus gives them a clear command. Remember therefore from whence thou art fallen, and repent and do the first works. If they do not, Jesus warns, I will come unto thee quickly, and will remove thy candlestick out of its place, except thou repent. A church that loses its love loses its light. And history tells us, eventually, the church of Ephesus disappeared. Today only ruins remain. The Ephesian church lost its first love, but the next church in Revelation faced something different. Persecution. The church of Smyrna suffered under the weight of oppression, poverty, and intense trials. Yet, Jesus had no rebuke for them. Why? Join us for the next episode as we uncover the story of Smyrna, the persecuted church. If this teaching challenged or inspired you, like, share, and subscribe for the next church in our Revelation series. And let's talk in the comments. Do you see the spirit of Ephesus in today's church, or even in your own walk with God?